everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and this is Flosstube number 116. Today is Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. I'm sure you'll be seeing this on Thursday because videos take forever to upload on YouTube these days, so it'll be going overnight. But anyway, regardless, it is a couple of weeks before Christmas, and I have a lot of stitching to show today. But I most importantly have two Christmas patterns that I'm releasing with this video. They are both a little bit like silly, quirky, fun. So I know they're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I stitched these really for myself and for a friend. And I love them. And if nobody else loves them or is interested in them, that is totally fine because I'm happy. I'm happy with them. But let me just show you the two releases. And if you're not interested, that's okay. I'll try to be brief just so we can move on to other stitching. Okay, so the first design, there is just a titch of backstory here. There is a viral video. It actually started as a Vine, but I first came across it on like Instagram Reels. But there's a viral video of a woman saying Merry Christmas, but saying it really incorrectly. I'm gonna just insert a clip because I could never explain this. It's like an 8-second clip, so just watch it.
Happy Christmas. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler.
Okay, so when I first stumbled across this like a couple years ago, it just really tickled me. And I decided I needed it in a cross stitch. So I stitched this quick little sampler based on this viral moment. So this is, I'm going to call it Merry Crisis. So it says, Happy Christmas, it's Christmas, Merry Crisis, Merry Chrysler. So this is just a quick, like it took me like a day and a half to stitch this. Super fun to stitch. I crammed as many like Christmas motifs on here as I could. This is stitched in DMC Étoile. I don't know if all the sparkle's gonna show, but it's using, I'm not even sure, maybe like seven or eight colors of DMC Étoile. If you don't have the Étoile, or you don't want to get the Étoile, or you don't want to stitch it in the Étoile, the DMC numbers correspond to like regular DMC. So like this red is DMC Étoile 816, I believe. So you could just use regular DMC 816 or like use whatever colors you want. But this is, I just love this. I'm really, really happy about this. And like I said, I stitched this for me. So if like no one else likes it, that's fine. I know at least one other person likes it because I showed somebody and they loved it. So anyway, I stitched this on 14 count DMC Charles Craft in metallic Ada. So I got this at Joann's. It is like a 14 count kind of oatmeal color Ada, and then it has these gold reflects in it, these gold sparkles. And I love it. And then with the DMC Étoile, so it's super sparkly. This is finished on a little sled I got from Target Dollar Days. Now, I did not get it this year. I got this a couple of years ago, but I see something pretty similar to this, I feel like, every Christmas at Target. So it's just a little sled. Like I've seen them at Michael's and Joann's. It just so happened it fit on there perfectly. But I actually designed this to fit in a 5x7 frame, but I did not account for like the overhang of the frame. So I designed it on, knowing I was stitching it on 14 count, I thought it would fit in a 5x7 frame, but it actually doesn't quite fit. It's like right up on the edge, so it's too tight. But if you stitched this on 16 count, or 32 count, 16 count Ada or 32 count linen or even weave, it should fit perfectly in a 5x7 frame. or just do a cute little finishing like this. I mean, it was really a happy accident because I think it looks really cute on this sled, and I like it a lot better probably than if I just put it in a frame. I used some twine, holiday twine that I had gotten at Michael's. I just glued that here around. And then I got these adorable little buttons. Look how cute these buttons are. I got these at Michael's last week. They look like this. It's Creatology embellishments. And they were 50% off. So I paid, well, they were 50% off and I had a 25% off on top of that coupon. So I paid like $2 for these buttons. They're so cute. I love these buttons. But I just glued those on just to kind of fill in some of that space. And I'm just like obsessed with this. And it'll hang up, or I can like prop it up. And I love it. So this is Merry Crisis from Hemlock Rye Stitchery. I'll link it down below. You can go get the pattern if you're interested. This is plenty of time to stitch this before Christmas. Like I said, really quick. Stitched up, not that I thought it was going to take very long, but it stitched up really, really fast. It did not take any time at all. Hopefully that sparkle's coming through. If not, just know it's there. It's sparkly. It's sparkly and wonderful. And I love it. And that is Merry Crisis. All right, so then I stitched a swap exchange for Heather. Link is my homeboy. So Heather hosts swaps. I think she does like 3 or so a year, and they're themed. And so like the last swap was the lovely lunar swap. And so we did like anything like moon, space kind of theme. This time around, the theme was Bookish Besties. And so you sign up for the swap, you fill out like a questionnaire, and you let, you don't know who your partner is going to be. It's obviously it's like randomly assigned, but you kind of like say, you know, what your favorite genres are, what your favorite authors, your favorite books, just like kind of like so that your partner, if they don't already know you, or if you're not like a Flosstuber who has like a persona, like if someone got me and they watch my videos, then they probably have a pretty good idea of what I'm gonna like. But if you pick somebody who doesn't maybe film Flosstube, you may not know what they're into. So Heather does a really good job of like making sure you can express like your interests so that your partner can hopefully stitch you something really wonderful that you'll love. And so anyway, this time around, I actually was assigned to stitch for Heather, and we have long bonded over our love of Twilight. Now, Heather unironically loves Twilight. I actually ironically love Twilight, but it doesn't matter. Either way, we both love it. So we had actually talked like last Christmas about, I was telling her I had this thought in my head of like these Twilight ornaments I wanted to do for Christmas. But I just like couldn't get it together last year, and I just didn't do it. And so I was like, next Christmas, I'm doing it. And then the swap came up, and I'm stitching for Heather, and I was like, this is just, it's perfect. Like this is all the motivation I need to finally do my Twilight Christmas designs. So for the swap, you're supposed to stitch one thing. I actually made 3 ornaments, and I sent all 3 to Heather, and then I stitched my own. So I did go overboard, but it's fine because she does so much with like hosting these swaps for us that she, I think, deserves like a little bit more than the typical package. So she got 3 smalls in the swap exchange, but they are 3 coordinated smalls. So this is the Twilight Christmas Trio. And I'll just show you one by one. So these are based off of, they're really more based off of the Twilight movie than the Twilight books, but I'm not going to split hairs about it. This actually is in the books and the movie. So this one is, and these are all stitched on 28 count Monaco that like I tea-dyed myself, and they're just stitched with DMC, and a couple of DMC etoiles are in there as well. So this is one of the 3. It's like a drug to me. So this is when the cringiest TV scene in history, when Edward tells Bella, like, your skin, or he says your scent, I think, it's like a drug to me. You're like my own personal brand of heroin. And so I kind of wanted to play on like it's like a drug to me. It's like my own personal brand of heroin. And for me, at this time of year, that's Little Debbie Christmas cakes. Or Reese's trees, the peanut butter trees. But I didn't think that would look as cute stitched up. So this is a Little Debbie Christmas cake. I love how it turned out. I think it turned out perfectly. And these are just little green bugle beads. So if you wanted to stitch this yourself and you couldn't find green bugle beads, you could just do like green back stitch for the sprinkles. But I absolutely love it. So it's just finished with some Christmas fabric on the back. And then I had this Christmas twine from, I think from Michael's. So this is the first one. It's like a drug to me, Little Debbie Christmas cake. And then this one is this is definitely from the movie. This is not in the books. Again, I took some liberties. Heather won't mind. But this is Where the Hell Have You Been, Loca? And this is from New Moon when Jacob tells Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca? And I did a Starbucks peppermint mocha because it just made me think, like, every year when like Starbucks finally brings back their seasonal drinks, it's like, there it is. Where the hell have you been, Loca? Peppermint mocha. I realize this is some basic bitch energies. Like, just let me have this. Just let me have this. So this is just all DMC and just finished again with cute Christmas fabric and some twine. This other one had a little bit of a toile here in the presents and then those sprinkles, but otherwise was DMC. And then last but not least, this is the ornament of a killer, Bella. So this is from that same cringy scene where Edward tells her, this is the skin of a killer, Bella. And he's just sparkling like crazy. So this is all in DMC étoile, so it's got a little sparkle to it. And finished like so. So that is the Twilight, what did I call it? The Twilight Christmas Trio, I think is what it's called. So I stitched these for Heather, I stitched these for myself. And if anyone else wants to stitch them, that's so great. I do understand this is a niche, this is quite a niche little deal here. And I totally get it. If no one else wants to stitch these, it's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm happy with them. And I think they're funny. So those are my two new releases from Hemlock Rye Stitchery. Just having some fun, just being a little silly for Christmas. And you can get those at the links below. So let me show you what I got in the Bookish Bestie swap. So my partner was Christina, who incidentally I stitched for in the lovely Lunar swap. So I had sent her a package and this time around she got me. And so she stitched me. I absolutely love this. And she did tell me if I can, she told me in the card what it is, but let me just show you first. So she made me this little pouch. It's super cute and very handy. But she stitched me this pattern here. It says books, sweet books. I screamed when I opened this. I love this. So let me grab the card. And she sent me this card. This is definitely because she knows I love Fourth Wing. Isn't this cute? She sent me this card full of dragons. So she said it's Flossie Fox Shop is the designer. It's called Home is Where the Books Are. And she stitched this on 32 count hog bristle linen from Fox and Rabbit, my favorite. And I love it. I love it. And that is like not a small, like she went above and beyond because this is, I would call this a medium, not a small, but I love it. I love it. And then she sent me some fun little goodies inside the package. I don't know if I have, like, if I can show all of them, but just some fun stickers. Here's a little Hobbit hole because I love Lord of the Rings. And then these fun stickers. It says, she's too fond of books and it has turned her brain. That's a quote from Louisa May Alcott that I've always wanted to chart and I need to do. And then this one says, emotionally involved with fictional characters. Absolutely perfect. And then she sent me the most beautiful needle minder. It's from A Needle Runs Through It on Etsy. I think they're on Etsy. Yeah. And they do the wooden, they do all of the wooden needle minders for Frosted Pumpkin and they're really good quality and they're really beautiful. And so she sent me this Outlander inspired one. It's a thistle and I love it. So I think, you know, on my survey, I had told her like some of my favorite series were Lord of the Rings and Outlander. So she understood the assignment. So thank you, Christina. I've already thanked her, of course, but I love it. I got such a great swap package. So just wanted to show you guys that since we were talking about the Bookish Bestie swap. I have a couple other finishes that were not my own. All right, so I'm going to insert a little video because I had to send this off to a friend. So I stitched this for my friend Victor. He is such a wonderful stitchy friend, and he's so generous. Like, he always sends me little presents, so I wanted to do something for him. So I stitched this. It's from a Dimensions booklet. It's a really old one. I don't know. I think it's a 1993 is the year. And it's Christmas Critters by Barbara Mock. And I stitched these little Dalmatian doggies. Victor has Dalmatians and Great Danes. So they're black and white Harlequin. They're so cute. So I thought this would be perfect. So I stitched these for him. And the only little change I made was on the Noel at the bottom. I didn't feel like doing full coverage there. So I changed the colors around just a titch, and just stitched the letters, but not the background on that. And this fabric is an old, it's a 14 count. It's a piece of fabric that I think these were really popular in the 90s, maybe the 80s. They're like plaid kind of fabrics. They come in all different colors, and they were meant to be made into pillows. So that's what I did. And I think it turned out so great. All right, I have one more finish. So I finished my plastic canvas kit from Innocent Bones. I bought this as a kit from her. She's in the UK. So when I bought it, I don't think it cost very much to ship it over, and I don't think it was too expensive. I don't know right now, like, what pricing and shipping is from the UK, but at the time it was very reasonable. She has a lot of her patterns as PDFs, but the ones she's done as these plastic kits, I don't think you can get them separate as a PDF. So I think you do have to get the kit. And this one is called I Am the Moon. And this was my car stitching project while we were on the road. But now that we're not on the road, I was like, oh, I haven't worked on this, and I need to, like, it was so close to being finished. I was like, I need to just actually start working on this, like, because it's not a travel project anymore. So I got it out and I sat down and I finished it up really quickly. But yeah, this is the kit came with the piece of plastic canvas, 14 count, and then the floss. And it's all just as it came in the kit, and I love it. This is the second one I finished, and I own one more. I don't really know how to fully finish these. Like, I could frame them, but I don't know. I don't think I want to. They don't seem like something I would frame. Does anybody have any ideas on how to finish these? You have to be really careful when you're stitching them too, because this is like a clear, kind of, it's not opaque, this canvas. So if you carry or travel with your threads, like, they will show on the front. So I tried to be careful. But yeah, I don't know. Give me ideas if you know how I should finish those, because I really don't know. All right, so what have I been stitching on that I haven't finished? Well, right on, I think it was Thanksgiving night, we had some snow here where I'm at now in Fort Collins. I think it started snowing Thursday, like late afternoon, and then we really got most of the snow on Friday, but we got like a good amount of snow. I think we got like 4 to 6 inches of snow. It was pretty decent. So I got out my snow day project, which I had not worked on in almost 2 years, because when we were on the road, we were avoiding snow. We were trying to avoid weather where it could be snowing. So anyway, I hadn't worked on it in forever. I was so excited to finally get back to it. So this is Mirabilia Designs. This is Santa's Magic. I believe this is now out of print. Didn't used to be, but I think it is now. So this is Santa's Magic, and I bought this as a kit at like a resale craft thrift store. So that's why it's not the typical like short envelope Mirabilia, because it came in a kit as like an 8.5 by 11. kit. So it had this different, like a little bit different cover. And it came with like 32 count Witchell linen and all the Krynic, all the beads, all the DMC. Which is really nice because like this pattern calls for a lot. So that would have been a lot to kit up myself. And I got a really, really, really good price at the craft store. So anyway, I got some work into Santa. So let's see, this time around, I think I did all of this, like all of these pairs in here and the back stitching. There's some Krynic in there. I might have done a little bit on his hat too, but yeah, I primarily just worked right here. The only change I've made, I'm using all the called for stuff from the kit. The only change I made was his skin tone. I did deepen his skin tone, but otherwise it's all as charted. And I love him. He's big. Even for a Mirabilia, he's very big. He's very ornate. A lot of confetti, a lot of sparkle. He's gonna be a lot of work, but he looks so great. And I do love working on him. I love working on Mirabilias, but I love him. So then I got out my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Castle Homecoming Stitch Along. So I am not fully caught up on this, but I'm really keeping up pretty well with this one. I think it ends in March. And I have not stitched December section yet. I think it came out December 7th or 8th. I haven't done it yet. And I'm almost done with November section. So I'm not really behind. I can easily catch up. And the thing about this stitch along is that some of the sections are bigger than others. So the November section I felt was big. It was a big section. And also like it was hard. It was fiddly, meticulous counting. Like it took me a while. I didn't even finish it, but I almost finished it. So this is where I'm at. So the November section was down here. It was this tree and it was just really a pain. It was difficult. So what I still need to do is the rest of the tree trunk here. And then there's a little guy down here. So I really don't have that much. I think I have like 400 stitches left. So I can finish it in a day. I just need to get back to it. And then the December section, I think came back up in here. And the December section to me looked much like simpler, smaller, a lot less stitching. So that November section was pretty intense, but I'll get there. I'll get back to it. I'll get caught up. I really want to get this finished, like, near to when it actually wraps up in March. Because I'm pretty sure this is the best I've ever kept up with a Frosted Pumpkin Stitch Along. I usually start them and I do 1 or 2 sections and then I kind of just stop. And then I usually abandon them, not because there's anything wrong with the pattern, but because I usually pick the wrong fabric and like I do something wrong and then I don't like stitching on it. So I've abandoned the last 2 I've done. But I'm back in love with Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I love their Halloween and Christmas stuff too. So I've got some plans for some stuff I want to stitch for Christmas from them. This is a 32 count even weave from Mystic Fabrics called Sweet Treat. And I am using a mix of the called for flosses, but I've substituted in sparkly like Krynic and Etoile and just random sparkly flosses where I want, just randomly. And the only other big change was I changed the princess. I totally changed her coloring to make her look like Princess Peach from Mario Brothers. So, but like the dragon was charted just in DMC, but I replaced him with like Krynic and Etoile and tried to make him really sparkly because I think dragons should be sparkly. So I love that. I'm gonna get back to that hopefully really soon and get that caught up. I also got some work in on an old project. So last December, I released a reproduction and I called it the Holiday Rooster Sampler. So it's a reproduction based on a big, like kind of tapestry that I had. And it's not a Christmas pattern, but like the colors of the original, the green and red, made me think of Christmas. And so I decided for me it would be a Christmas sampler. So it's the Holiday Rooster sampler. And it is just so beautiful stitched up. This is the only pattern I've ever released that I did not have fully model stitched. I just released it as like a mock-up, but it's only calls for 2 colors. And I am about halfway done. And this is on a 40 count Eureka, from Fox and Rabbit. And I'm using 2 classic colorworks. It's, oh geez, what is it? It's mistletoe. What is the red? I can't think of it right now. It's on the pattern. If anybody really wants to know, just, I'll go look it up. I can see it, but I can't think of the name of it. But this pattern's really fun because you could just use your own 2 color combo, like just whatever 2 colors you want. And it doesn't have to be a holiday sampler, especially if you don't do it in red and green. But yeah, I did a lot on this actually, from when I had left it last Christmas. And it's really fun to stitch, and it just, I think, is so gorgeous. Ooh, I'll try to put in a picture of like what the whole thing looks like. But yeah, that's my Holiday Rooster sampler, and I thought I would be finishing it this year, but I don't know that that's actually going to happen. So this will be an ongoing project. Somebody has finished it. It's not that it's like so big you can't finish it. I just haven't gotten to it. Sorry if the camera was shaking. Arlo just bumped it. So yeah, there's Holiday Rooster sampler. I'm absolutely enamored with it. I think it's gorgeous. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's looking even more beautiful than I thought it would. Now that I'm actually like getting it stitched up. Okay, stop bumping the camera. Stop. Okay, so then I started up a new pattern with my friend Megan, the Wide-Eyed Stitching Child. So on one of her floss tubes, she had shown like what she was hoping to stitch for the fall, and she showed this pattern from Not Forgotten Farm, Old Mustard Moon, and said she was thinking she wanted to stitch it. And I was like, oh, I messaged her and I was like, I have that. I bought it at Country Sampler when I was there this summer, and I want to start it like for the fall also. So we decided to start it together. So we started it like right after Thanksgiving. And I bought this as a kit from Country Sampler. And so it actually was just all the called for floss. But what they did that was different and cool was they stitched it on Murky from Picture This Plus. And I was able to see like their model in the shop on Murky, and it looked so amazing. So this is 32 count Murky, so it's going to be pretty big. And I'm using 2 strands of the called for floss. And I didn't get a lot done, but I wanted to get at least like a length in of all the colors in the pattern. So I started building my house, and then I came down to the grass just to try to get some of those colors in. So let me show you. So that's Old Mustard Moon. It's actually stitching up pretty fast for what it's going to be. I mean, was this only 1 day? This might have been 1.5 days of work on it. So, I mean, I felt like it was going fast. I still have that whole house, but I felt like it was going fast. So, okay. So then, I did attend the Jingle Ball this year. I didn't do any classes, but I just wanted, I paid the $10 like admission so I could shop, really, that's all. And, but then I was like trying to be restrained, and like I have so much, so I couldn't just buy everything I wanted. I'm trying to be like better about not buying so much. This is Arlo. He just really needs to say hi. So anyway, I only bought a couple things, but I did buy the Tiny Modernist Merry and Bright Stitch Along. So I do believe you could only get this at the Jingle Ball. So that's over, therefore you can't get it now. So I guess if you like this pattern, which it's not fully revealed yet, but if you do like this pattern, I think you have to wait a year. But and this is a quick stitch along, like I think every 4 days she's releasing a part so that it'll all be fully released by Christmas. So I've got part 1 and 2 done, and then the next part just came out. It's right here. It's a bunch of Christmas trees. It's really cute. So these are the called for colors. And this is a 25 count Lugana from Bestitch Me. It was in the Christmas box last year. I don't know what the color is, but I think it was limited edition anyway, but I love it. I love how it's looking. So I'm using all the called for colors except for in the border. The border calls for just DMC Blanc, and I'm using a variegated floss that I thought kind of felt like a winter sweater. I don't know if you can tell, but it kind of just shifts from like white to peach to blue. It just kind of had that like kind of fair isle sweater kind of feel to it. I love how it's looking on this fabric. I think it's so beautiful. And this is stitching up really quick, which is great because it's, you know, the pieces to the stitch along are coming so quick. It's got this like retro Scandinavian kind of vibe, and I love it. I think it's gorgeous. And the new part, if I remember, I'll put a picture in. The new part looks so beautiful too. So hopefully I'll be able to, I'm hoping to keep up with that one. Whew. Okay, two more whips. So I started a sampler I got on Etsy. It's the Christmas Vacation sampler. It's based off the movie National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It was probably my favorite well, I don't know if it's my favorite. I have a lot of favorite Christmas movies, but it is up there for sure. So this is based off of when Clark is like having his meltdown in front of the family because he doesn't get his holiday bonus. Well, he gets the Jelly of the Month Club, but he doesn't get the holiday bonus money that he's expecting. So this is from Beverly, what is Beverly something? Beverly Street on Etsy, I think. And this is on a 14 count Aida, and I'm using just a DMC Blanc. And I hope to finish this tonight. So I just have this little section up here left, but it says, hallelujah, holy shit, where's the Tylenol? And if you've seen the movie, that should make a lot of sense for you. This has actually been really fun to stitch. It's stitching up really quick, so that should be a finish very shortly. I'm in the Christmas spirit. All right, and then my last work in progress is, so my friend Sarah, Memphis Sarah on Instagram and Flosstube, her birthday was last week, December 8th, and she did last year for her birthday, and then she repeated again this year. She did the So Fancy B-Day Sal. So she asked people who wanted to participate to just stitch on a fancy lady, whether that's a Nora Corbett, Mirabilia, Bella Filipina, like whatever, just stitch on a fancy lady. And so I had many, many, many options, but I had just purchased the Tiny Modernist Ule Goddess pattern because it's gorgeous. And I wanted to start it anyway. So I was like, you know what, Sarah, I think I'm going to start this for your birthday because I was going to start it anyway. Then I don't have to like start another fancy lady on top of all the other fancy ladies. And she was like, perfect. It's beautiful. I love it. I think you should do it. So I started Ule Goddess from Tiny Modernist. This is on Fiber on a Whim 32 count linen in the color Cypress. And it's stitched with just DMC. And I got a pretty good start. It's a big pattern. But you do this like outline and then it's just fill in. Arlo's scratching. All right, so I did stitch this with all of the called for DMC, except I did change her skin tone. Now, I do want to just say about that. Cheryl, the designer at Tiny Modernist, actually does do different skin tones in her patterns. She does have that representation, which I really appreciate. So this isn't like a criticism on her at all. She actually has a pattern with like a honeybee goddess. It's like a similar kind of pattern, but with a honey theme. And that one does have, she does have a darker skin tone. I grabbed the called for skin tone for this one, and it might have just been with my fabric, but I did like 3 stitches and I just did not like it. I didn't think it looked right. So I ripped it out and I went with the darker skin tone. This is DMC 3863, I believe. And so that's the only change I made. Otherwise, I'm using all the called for DMC because Cheryl does do such a good job with picking out colors, and everything looks great. I think it was just my fabric. And just with that white, like ashy gray hair, I just didn't like the lighter skin tone. So that's why I changed that. This was really fun to stitch. I want to get back to this. I don't know if I will get back to it right away, but I hope I do. Okay, so that's all my stitching. So I'm going to talk about some books. If you are not interested in book talk, you can leave now and you're not going to miss a thing. But if you want to hear about some books, stay tuned. So I have only Christmas holiday romances to talk about because that is all I'm reading right now. So if you really don't care to hear about smutty Christmas holiday romance novels, then definitely do not stay tuned. That's all we're talking about. So I'm on a mission. I think it was ever since Thanksgiving. I am listening to holiday romance audiobooks. I am reading holiday romance on my Kindle Unlimited subscription, and I have paperback copies of holiday romance novels to read. So I'm just going to do that until I can't stand it any longer. I'm actually not sick of them just yet. I thought I would be by now, but I'm not. So I've read a bunch, and I don't have like really deep thoughts on all of them. So I'm going to try to do this like super rapid fire. Hopefully I don't get like off track. I'm really going to try to do this quick. All right. So let's just like whip through them. All right. So my library had very few smutty Christmas audiobooks, but I found a couple. So I found Love Under Contract by Cassie Connor, and I literally this one had a freaking spice pepper on the front and it said spicy books, and I was like, sign me up. This was cute. I did like this. It was absolutely spicy. So it was it's set in London, and it's a super uptight like lawyer type woman, and she meets this man and has a one-night stand, and he's like so not her type. They have a great time, but then she needs like a fake date for her sister's wedding, like engagement party, all that stuff. So she asks this guy, he needs money, so she asks him if he will come like be in a fake relationship with her. But then of course like sparks fly and they fall in love. It was cute. I did like it. It was definitely spicy. Good time. So then on Kindle Unlimited, I read Holiday Star by Melissa Diamond. Now this was very interesting because she had 2 versions of the book you could download. So you could download the spicy version, which of course I did, or you could download like a clean closed door romance version. So like they were hooking up, but you weren't like, you didn't read about it, right? So it was the same book, but one had like the sex scenes and one did not. So I thought that was really interesting that she gave you like 2 options there. But I really, really enjoyed this. This is set in LA, I believe, and it's a doctor. She's a doctor in, I think, in New York City, and she has to come home to like house sit over the holidays for her mom and stepdad. And he is a super, super, super famous Hollywood star, and his uncle is married to her mom, so he's like her step cousin, I guess. So anyway, she's at the house, he shows up, and then he needs like a place to lie low, and they like are kind of butting heads at first, but then they fall for each other. But it was good. I actually really liked it. Sorry, I just can't go into a lot of detail because there's so many of these to get through. So then I read A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone, and I loved this book. Now this does have like kind of mixed reviews, so I don't know why it worked for me and it doesn't work for others. But like most of the holiday romances I read are like kind of like 3.5, 4 stars. Like they're all like kind of fine and forgettable, or they're bad. Sometimes they're bad, but usually like they're not bad. They're just not like wonderful. So they're just kind of middle of the road for me. But this one I really, really enjoyed. So this is there's like a Hallmark movie channel super conservative, like family values kind of channel that does these Christmas movies. And through a series of events that I don't need to go into, the woman who's cast as the lead in the movie is actually a porn star. So she's trying to like keep that on the down low because it's like against her morality clause like in her contract, and she doesn't want anyone to find out. So she shows up to film this movie and she's like, surely no one will figure this out, right? Like, how much crossover could there be? Which is hilarious because of course someone's going to figure it out. But anyway, the male lead in the movie is like a subscriber to like her, it's basically like her OnlyFans. They call it something else, but it's her OnlyFans. So anyway, he's like a super fan of hers. And so he immediately is like, oh my God, it's the porn star that I'm like obsessed with. But they both have to, like, he has to pretend like he doesn't know. And then she's like, doesn't want anybody to know and whatever. But they have all this chemistry and, you know, hijinks ensue. But I don't know. It was a page turner for me. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really steamy and fun. And I really, really loved it. Like, I actually gave this one 5 stars because I really loved it. So then I read Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey has become an author that I will always buy. Like, every new release she has, I'm going to buy it. Historically, I haven't loved all of her books, but I have loved all of like her last 5 books I've gotten. Like, I have loved. So this is her new holiday romance for the year. And this one I loved. Also getting kind of mixed reviews. Not sure what people aren't liking about it. I don't know. Tessa Bailey like can really rub people the wrong way. Like, I think she's an author that some people really, really love. And then some people, like, even if they can't put their finger on it, just like really do not like her writing style. But I do like it. I think her books are always like laugh out loud funny to me. But anyway, this is 2 children of a famous like rock band that had a really, really horrible like public breakup in the 90s. And like, these 2 women were in this band together. They hate each other. They want nothing to do with each other. They trash each other in the press. And their kids were born within like a couple months of each other. And so now, like, you know, it's 20 years later, and the kids have been brought together to try to reunite their moms, to try to get the band back together. So it's just their story of like falling in love as they're trying to bring their parents back together to reunite the band. There's, you know, a lot more to the plot than that, but what I liked about this is you have the love story, but then you also have this friendship story. Like, these women were best friends. They were in a band together. They had amazing chemistry. Like, what happened, right? Like, you're spending the whole book getting like little crumbs trying to figure out like what went wrong. Why did they break up? And how, you know, how can they move on? How can they get past this? So I loved it. I loved it. All right. So then I was on Kindle Unlimited, and I think I was literally just scrolling through and like just clicking on any random thing. So I stumbled across, I don't know how, this is Filthy Scrooge by Taryn Quinn. I don't even know if I can give you a synopsis. I could if I thought really hard about it. But this one, oh my God. This one was super duper spicy. Pretty much like, you know, jumps into like a steamy scene, like almost immediately. But no, this one was fun. I had a really good time. Like, was it good? Like, not really, but I had fun. Like, I definitely was turning those pages, like, could not stop. He's like a billionaire CEO, and she's, you know, not. And it's got that trope where, you know, he flies her in his private plane and they go to like the secluded cabin and all that stuff. So it was fun. It was a good time. I had a good time. So then I read Snowed In by Catherine Walsh on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. Yeah, pretty sure. And this one actually surprised me. I really enjoyed this one. This is, it's set in like Dublin and then a small town outside of Dublin. And this is also a fake dating trope. So these 2 kind of grew up together. They weren't really friends, but like they knew of each other, he was a grade or two above her or whatever in school. And so they run into each other in Dublin, and they find out they both need to go home for the holidays. But for various reasons, they both like don't want to go home as a single person because of like judgment from their family. So they agree to like fake date and help each other like get through the holidays together, just to kind of like take some of the heat off of them while they're home for the holidays. But of course, like there's chemistry, there's sparks, whatever. So they fall in love, right? The snowed in part doesn't come till much later in the book, but it does finally, they do get snowed in. And then that part of the book, that title makes sense. I actually very much enjoyed this one though. So then I read A Very Merry Bromance by Lyssa K. Adams, because this was available on audiobook at my library. Now I actually have not read, I think there's like 3 previous books in this series. The Bromance Book Club, I've heard very mixed reviews about it, so I've never like bothered to pick it up. But these are the kind of books that you can read, like you don't have to read the other ones like to just pick one up and read it. Like the couples from like the first few books kind of show up, but you really don't have to read those before you just like read the 4th book in the series or whatever. So this one is a famous country music star and a whiskey heiress, and they have to surprise fake date. Why all these Christmas romances are fake dating? I think they fake date, right? I'm pretty sure they fake date, but they're also like hooking up, friends with benefits. Honestly, this one is a little forgettable for me. I've already forgotten most of it. Like, it was fine. It wasn't bad. It was pretty forgettable. I think I'd give it like 3.5 stars. It was fine. Okay, then I read Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafleur. This is a sapphic holiday romance. Love to see it, right? There's just not a lot of queer representation sometimes in the romance genre. I mean, it's there, but it's hard to find like mainstream published stuff sometimes. So anyway, this is the story of Darcy and L. So this is a like very loose Pride and Prejudice inspired like modern day story. So Darcy is like kind of uptight, closed off, and Elle is like kind of flighty, quirky, manic pixie dream girl, and they get set up on like a blind date. There's like a little bit of sparks, but like also some mishaps. Like, I mean, it's like the Pride and Prejudice retelling, right? So like that first encounter, it's like, ooh, you're kind of cute, but then like, oh, you offended me or something went wrong, whatever. They misjudge each other. But then they end up having to, let's all say it again, fake date. Why are all these Christmas holiday romances about fake dating? They end up having to fake date because it was Darcy's brother who like set them up, and for whatever reason, he thinks there's a whole reasoning behind it, but regardless, they have to fake date for him for reasons. So they're fake dating, but they fall in love. That, you know how these books go. I really love this one. This one was really good. Also very funny, very funny. Oh my God. Okay. Couple more. I read The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. Now, Lucy Score is a popular author, and she has tons of books out, and I've never read any of them. I think this is the first one I've ever read from her. And I actually loved it. And she's another author who I see get really, really mixed reviews. But I was feeling this. I don't know why. It was just so, like, this book was so easy to read. Like, I just flew through it. Super spicy, and a really fun, like, enemies to lovers, but like for real, like they do not like each other. Like they meet and they like hate each other. So you had a lot of that like tension and angst. The guy in this, he's so mean to her for like half the book, like that I was still like really having fun reading it because it's still really funny and interesting, but I was like, God, this guy's such an asshole. Like how is she ever gonna fall in love with him? He's so mean. He's just so judgmental. He assumes the absolute worst about her, and he's just so mean to her. But he did redeem himself. But basically what happens is he's like the city manager of this small town that gets hit by a hurricane, and she's on one of those HGTV type shows where she comes in and like fixes up houses. So she shows up and is like, I want to help your town like get fixed up from the hurricane so that you can have your Christmas festival that you always have. And he's like, no, you're just here to like milk our trauma for ratings. You know, he just assumes her intentions are really sketchy. And she's like, no, like I'm a good person. I actually want to help. And so most of the book is just her going like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. And he's like, she's up to no good. I know it. And then of course, like he has to eat his humble pie because she wasn't up to anything bad. But anyway, I loved it. It was so fun to read, really easy to read, funny, sexy. It was a good time. I'm excited now to check out more by Miss Lucy Score. She has a really popular series called Things We Never Got Over or something like that. You will have seen the book if you've been to like any bookstore. It's like a blue cover with like daisies on it or something. It's super popular. Maybe I'll finally read that. We'll see. Okay. So then I read on Kindle Unlimited, I came across this book and I was like, let's give it a try. It looks cute. It's Love in the Scottish Winter Highlands by Beatrice Bradshaw. And I found out this was actually a debut novel from this author. So it's her first book and I really, really enjoyed it. It's set in this small Scottish Highland town. She inherits this decrepit old castle and she shows up, I think she's like living in London. She shows up and he is like the groundskeeper, like caretaker of the castle. Not the building itself, but just the grounds. And he's dealing with some past trauma. She's dealing with some past trauma. And they kind of have, like they get off to kind of a bad start. He has his reasons for like not wanting her to succeed in like reclaiming and fixing up this castle. And but he can't help but like be drawn to her and they fall in love. Shocker. But I really like this one. The like small town and the people in the small town just felt very like fleshed out and vibrant to me. Like I wanted to go visit this town. Like it just, I want to go to the pub and like hang out with these people. It just sounded so charming and wonderful. And I really enjoyed it. And for a debut novel, like it was really great. All right, so two more quick ones. I read The Mistletoe Bet by Maren Moore. Now this was, it's not quite, I don't think it's a novella, but it's like not quite full length. It's kind of like a little longer than a novella, but like super short for a book, I guess. So I blew through this one really quick, and I will say, I definitely felt like it needed a little more. Like it felt like things weren't fleshed out or things happened too soon because it was that shorter length. But I can also say that if she had fleshed it out and made it like a full length novel, I probably would have been bored, you know? So it's like, I get why it was shorter, but I don't know. I felt like maybe I needed a little more. Like I just needed a little bit more to like make it, like make the story really like come alive. But it features a woman who's home in her small town for the holidays, and her brother's best friend is a doctor in the town, and she's always had a little crush on him. And apparently he's always had a little crush on her, but she didn't know that. And they, you know, they end up like, she's just home for a week. And so they, you know, she's like, let's just hook up. Doesn't mean anything. I'm leaving after this. Like, but of course, like he's actually turns out like been totally in love with her this whole time. And he wants more than just a little hookup. And she has to kind of like work through her feelings on that. And that's why I felt like we needed more like pages. Like it felt like she just like, you know, in like 10 pages was like, all right, I love you, I'll stay. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but you know. But I didn't hate it. Like it was fun. It was fine. And then I read the last book I have to talk about. I read this book solely because it was going all around on like the book talk like community. It's called Trickshot by Kayla Gross. And this is a novella. It's a short one. And it is literally like being peddled all over on social media as like the most like racy, spicy, oh my God book. So I wanted to check it out. Of course I did. So this book was not good. I'm sorry. Like, first of all, the spicy scenes, fine, whatever. Like they were spicy for sure. I don't know why people are acting like they've never read a spicy scene like as hot as this. Like I thought it was pretty much like a lot of the other spicy scenes I've read. Like I guess, I mean, it was, you know, there was a lot of steam, but like I don't know what the hype is about this book. I really don't. I was bored. I've never fallen asleep reading spicy scenes, but I did it like 3 times, like trying to finish this book. I was just like passing out. Like that's how boring it was because the whole book was sex. Like I didn't know I could reach a limit where I'm like, this is too much. Like, can we just have a break? Can we just have a break? Let's just talk a little bit. No, it's like 200 pages of sex scene after sex scene. It's just a little bit much. It's a little bit much. But you know what? For the people who are loving it, like I love that for you. I was very unimpressed, and it's not because I'm a prude. I just was like, it was too much smut. There is such a thing as too much smut. There is. But anyway, this book, what is fun about this book is there's queer representation. So there are 2 men who are in a relationship, and then they bring in this woman as the third, and then they all go to bed together. And yeah, it's a book, but I was bored. I'm telling you, I fell asleep in the middle of the sex scene. So that's my thought on that. That's actually the book I liked the least out of all these books. So like almost all of these books I gave like 3.5, 4 stars. A couple of them 5-star, loved them. And then I think that was the only book that I really was like, womp womp, not good, did not love. So ending on that note. All right, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.